Welcome everybody, excuse me, and welcome to my channel Rapido T Lusso Guitar. This is the first time I've put anything up since July of last year, so welcome to new subscribers, old ones, and as usual some ramshackle playing. I'm pretty out of touch with the guitar, but today we're going to be discussing and opening another Grote Jazz Guitar. Now I think this is going to be the sixth one I've had come through HQ here. I've got two myself. I don't know whether you can see the one in the background here with a modified one. I put another P90 in a Bigsby amongst other things. Great guitars, look fantastic, and after I modified that, it's not that I regretted it, but I really wanted one with just the one P90, so I got that about a month ago, and that is the first time I've actually properly played it, so forgive the quirkiness of the playing. Cheers everybody, English breakfast tea. So this is an unboxing and first impressions of a Sunburst one. Now this one is for a friend of mine. He's paid me and I got it from AliExpress. So the purpose of an unboxing really is, that's the kind of box they come in. It's polystyrene or styrofoam if you're over the pond. I think that's what you guys call it. I've taken the liberty to cut the polystyrene with a craft knife ahead of time, because who wants to watch somebody cut open a polystyrene? You know, it's bad enough having to deal with it anyway. And also I use a craft knife. I'm not going to be wielding some great blade and go, this is a knife, because that joke just isn't funny to me. You know, there's nothing cool about having large knives, especially in the UK. There's a lot of knife crime, so I'm gonna just grab this out. So originally these guitars first appeared, I believe, on Amazon. Just take some of the packaging out the way, and they came single boxed with really flimsy polystyrene, and they were shipped from wherever to wherever, and the fact that most of them arrived intact is kind of beyond me. But let's just get this guitar out, and I'll put it to one side for now before I take all this film off. Excuse me, gosh, she's in there. So there she is, a Sunburst one. Can wait there a sec while I get rid of the box. And I've seemed to have spilled some tea, which is cool. It comes with the little pack with an Allen key in there for your truss rod and a lead. Most people say, oh, just chuck that away. Why? The lead will work. And what I do with these is I give them to, you know, friends, and donate them to like a local youth centre where they're encouraging people to take up musical instruments. So I'll hang on to that. I'll just put it down there. So this is the kind of box they come in. It's, you know, moulded to the guitar. The guitar was really tight in there. This is the kind of thing it gets chucked around in a UPS wagon, and we all know what those guys are like. They're animals, and you know they're going to survive unless a fridge drops on it. I don't think it would withstand the impact of a fridge. So let's just take off this rubber band, and it appears to be taped as well. So I'll just be brutal with this because yeah, wow. So there she is, the Grote Jazz Guitar. I've got some notes on a board here. It's actually a J90. And it's GRWB-ZTVS. The VS stands for Vintage Sunburst or Violin Sunburst. So I'll just have a quick scan around because I know what I'm looking for on these guitars. As I say, this is the 6th one. That's interesting. Firstly, this must be one of an older batch because it doesn't have a volute on the neck, whereas this one, don't know whether you can see that. I'll just put this down here. Has a volute, which is basically the way the headstock's scarfed into the neck. It has this heel which reinforces the neck. I don't know whether you've ever had Gibson style or Epiphone guitars. They tend to break headstocks for a pastime if you mistreat them. You know, I had one, leant it against a pool table and it fell off, and so did the headstock. So a beautiful looking instrument. I absolutely love the fact that it doesn't have a single cut, because in that little area there you've got a fistful of extra hollow bodied goodness, which these are fully hollow body. There's a little sound block or a piece that bonds the two surfaces together underneath the bridge. The bridges aren't fixed. What I've done on both of mine is I fixed them by screwing into that actual block. You might cringe at that, but it works for me. Beautiful looking thing. The only flaw that I've seen on one of the others is where it's a set neck, by the way, where they set the neck in. There's a slight indentation there. I don't know whether you can see that. And what's happened when they've put the finish on, because that's slightly peaked, the finish has picked up on that high spot and it sort of highlights it. But let's have a closer look into that. It's nothing that would bother me. Something else is a lot of people talk about, oh, the necks, needs setting up. You need to adjust the truss rod. You need to crown the frets and do all this business. Out of the 5 I've had in the past, let me just... There are no fret issues on this. The action is nice and low. Some people describe them as a chunky neck. Does that look like a chunky neck to you? I'd say it's a C. And beautiful guitars. They sound great. And people talk about shimming the pickup. The one you just heard, I have shimmed that pickup just as an experiment, and I made the shim myself. Here's another one that I'm going to send to a mate. He can put it on if he wants. And that's out of 2mm gasket paper. And I just cut round the plastic cover. You can take that off pretty easy. And then cut a hole out to go around the pickup. They're easy to fit as well. So yeah. So they're based on, as you well know, this is, I'm not teaching you how to suck eggs if you've got one of these or you've watched loads of videos. They are based on an Epiphone Century or a Guild T50, which are kind of based on the Gibson ES125T, I believe. So they're from that late 30s, 40s era of jazz guitar. So the P90 is perfect for like a hollow body arch top. Like I say, it's got a set neck. It's got a nice arch to it. The one on the red one there is slightly more pronounced. So it depends really, which batch they come from. This is one of the newer ones, I'm guessing, even though this came before this one. So that's weird, but I got this from a different shop on AliExpress. This isn't from Amazon, this is from China. But yeah, beautiful thing. So the Epiphone Century is made from laminated maple, as is the Guild T50, and so are these. And in fact, when I took off the pickup on the one in the background there to get the guts out of it and put the other pickup on, I could see there are about 5 laminates in there of maple, where they sort of put one that way, crossways and back, and it just it adds rigidity for the tension of the strings. Fully hollow, so there's no center block getting in the way and messing up. So they're a really resonant guitar. And this one is almost in tune. Wow. And this has come all the way from China. So that's a good sort of praise for the packaging that they come in. So it's slightly out. I mean, I might even plug this in, but it will be out of tune, and it'll probably go out of tune if I play it. So yeah, laminated maple, a single P90. Do you need to shim the P90? That's another big discussion. I don't think so, because what I know of P90s, and I've got them on quite a few guitars, there's one over there, a Gretsch. There's a Gretsch in the other room that I've put a couple of Les Paul P90s, not off a Les Paul, but Les Paul sort of humbucking size P90s that fitted straight into that. That's a G5 10T Gretsch. I've also put a pair in a Fender Starcaster, and they're Vanson P90s. I've tried a Vanson P90, which I put on the Gretsch in that one, to see if it was any better than the one that comes stock, because a lot of people will ask, should you change the pickup? The answer to that, as far as I'm concerned, no, they're really good. Should you shim it? If you want to. A P90 is a very willing pickup. The closer it is to the strings, of course, it's going to have a higher output. The more you dig into it, the more sort of hardcore and trashy and it's going to sound, and they really do growl. I love P90s. So the hardware on it's Korean. The body is 20-inch, 51 centimeters in length. It is 16 inches wide, or 40 centimeters. The depth of the body, I'm reading off my whiteboard here, is 1 3/4 inches, or 43 centimeters. So, you know, I guess its DNA really is from kind of like the Charlie Christian era of the early electric guitars. You know, like I think Charlie played an ES 150. So they've got a very similar sort of sound to that era, really. The tuning pegs I found have been pretty good on all of them. They're not the best, but they stay in tune, they hold tune, unless you get the occasional one that's a little bit numb. But I find I like them, and they've done all right for me. So let's just strap this one. I'll play this one a bit more because I'm going to do another video where I'm going to compare these two. One with the shim, one without the shim. Like I say, it's entirely up to you whether you shim it. And the other thing with the P90 pickup, especially suited to a hollow body arch top, they just sound great. But if you back off the volume, you won't really be able to hear that, but it's almost like the presence of the guitar increases a little bit. So let's just try backing off the tone. But yeah, lovely guitars. I'm not affiliated with Grote Jazz Guitars, the company Grote. While I'm on the subject, I believe they are made by Byron Master Guitar Builders in China for the Grote company. I could be wrong, so let me know what you think. You may know more. I've tried to share as much information as I can. There are 20 frets. Why would you need any more? You can access the 12th to the 14th. Kind of okay. And for me, you know, unless you're into rock and metal and stuff like that, you really need to get any higher than that. You know, if I go any higher than that, I get a nosebleed. So that's all right for me. It's got a trap string post here. That is a cautionary tale for that. If you get one of these, I've got one here and I left it on the bench to remind me. One of the guitars that I got, I came to adjust this because it wasn't level on the guitar. It was sort of on the gimp, as they say. So I wound one side down and went to tighten the other one up, and it just broke, sheared off because it had been cross-threaded. So that's something to watch out for. That's the only problem that I've had. But fortunately, because I put a Bigsby on another one, I had the original trap. So I put that on the other Grote guitar that I'd got for another friend, and he loves it. In fact, it's his #1 guitar. And I'll wind the volume down. These are great guitars. I don't know whether you can hear how they're quite loud, like an acoustic, so they make a great couch guitar. If you were a singer-songwriter and you know you play an acoustic guitar sort of live, this is a great alternative to that. I have a friend who used to play a Takamine with phosphor bronze strings, and he's kind of a blues man, but the guitar just sounded way too refined. And he'd asked my opinion, what do you think? And I said, that guitar's too posh, man. You know, that's like sort of Bon Jovi, Blaze of Glory type acoustic guitar, you know. I said, you're playing blues, you want something a little bit more primitive. So he gave me some money and I bought him one off AliExpress, and he went for a sunburst, or violin sunburst, and he absolutely loves it. So they're great couch guitars, so if you don't want to plug an amp in, I have mine just next to me on the couch. I'll just pick it up and play it. I love them. So yeah, anything else on my list here? The nut width is 42 millimeters and the scale length 24.75. It's double bound, so I'm not sure what the purfling is made of, but they are wonderfully made, and I think they're pretty much handmade as well. So for the money, I mean, that one there cost $231 US from AliExpress in China, including the shipping, which I'm not sure what that is in English pounds, but probably about 190 including shipping, which is really good. If you're in the UK, Andertons are now selling them, and they've got them on offer at just under £200, so check it out. If not, get the AliExpress app on your phone and just search up Grote Jazz Guitar. There are quite a few different shops that you can get them from. Just check out their feedback. And you know, a lot of my friends didn't want to do that because they were worried that they'd get ripped off and the guitar wouldn't show up, but they always show up. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm guessing the Epiphone Century has sort of had a bit of a rebirth because of a guy called James Bay, who's like a pop artist who's had some quite big hits and, you know, and big selling albums, and he plays an Epiphone Century. It's not really my kind of music, but he's a really good guitar player, and I think he drops the tuning down to sort of E flat. He uses heavy gauge strings with a wound G, which would suit these guitars. The other thing is the Epiphone Century has the wooden bridge, which is something I'm going to do on this one. I've got a few of them in my parts bag, but I'm liking the idea of a wood and bone sort of bridge saddle, and put a wound G on it, probably put 12 to 60 on it. As I've said, all the ones that I've had to do no work to the frets. When you first get them, they're a little bit scratchy, as they say out here in YouTube world, but nothing that playing it for a few hours doesn't sort out. And you're going to want to change the strings, because one thing they will do to save money is they'll put cheaper strings on it, number one. Maybe the volume and tone pots are a bit budget, like dime sized ones. You could upgrade those if you really wanted to, but this is all stock. Great guitars. Do I recommend buying one? If you want one, absolutely, you will not be disappointed. You know, and the great thing about the shops that I have used on AliExpress, I let them know about this, and they sent me a new one, like express post, and they also sent me an alternative bridge as well, and responded really quickly. So their customer service is really good. They're not made in sweatshops, they're made in good factories, and they've got a great work ethic, hence the reason they can keep the price down really low. The quality of the inlays on the guitar, I mean, on this one, they're really good, and the same on this Sunburst one that I've just got. The fretboard looks a little bit dry on that, so they benefit from a string change, and you can condition the neck with lemon oil or whatever you want to condition the neck with. I'd recommend putting at least 11 to 52s on there. They just suit the guitar. Perhaps they come with 10s, I'm not sure, maybe they're 11 to 49s. I prefer a fairly heavy sort of gauge strings, and these 11 to 52 aren't that heavy. I'm 12 to 60 as a rule on my Gretches. 14 to 64 was what I used when I played in sort of surf bands, and there's a Dan Electro on the wall, the red one back there, that had 14 to 64s on it, which I had made by Newtone Strings in Long Eaton. Hi guys, not that you're likely to be watching, but I'll give them a mention. If you're in the UK, they'll custom make any gauge string you want, and you can have a round core, hexagonal core, they do flat wounds, you name it. So, thanks for tuning in. I hope that's been useful information to you. Anybody who's previously subscribed, I've had a few people send messages saying what's happened, you haven't done a video in a while. On social media, a few people I've become friendly with have also asked. I badly fractured my wrist last year, really badly actually. I damaged the scaphoid and the carpal tunnel area, and had to didn't rest it long enough, start trying to play guitar again, and then I injured it again, and I've had to really let it heal. So that's the reason, but that I've not done any, but I will be doing some more reviews of guitars. I've got quite a few lining up. I've got a few unboxings to do. I've got a new Gretsch variant, the G5 420T, which arrived last week, which I'll be unboxing soon. I'm going to be reviewing all the modified guitars that I've done, like the Tri-5 and the Rat Rod. I'm going to be doing a shootout between those two guitars, which essentially are the same, just different paint jobs. One's got P90s, the other one's got a Brian Setzer signature pickup in it and a Gretsch high sensitive, and I'm going to compare those two and see which one you prefer. So there's lots of stuff to talk about. Now, my channel, as you know, is usually discussion, so we'll be discussing Gretches, there'll be Telecasters, there won't be any Strats, sadly, unless somebody sends me one, I'll happily review it, but it probably wouldn't be favourable, because no disrespect if you love Strats, I don't. Just don't like them, don't like the way they look, number one, and that's very important. These are a beautiful looking guitar. I love the nod to the Art Deco era. Going back to the inlays, they're not mother of pearl, they are mother of plastic, or some pearloid plastic, but they work, they look beautiful. I think they're such a great looking guitar, and I don't remember when I found out about these, some algorithm somewhere, one popped up, and I just thought, wow, where can I get one of those? Went on Amazon, they'd all sold out, and they're out of stock, and it took me over a year before I finally got my original one. So yeah, that's it for today. I hope you're all doing well. Thank you for stopping by. Stay cool, look after yourselves, and I'll talk to you soon. Catch you later.